You have an inner voice that speaks to you every day. Sometimes it warns you, making you feel uneasy about something. Other times, it gently guides you toward a decision that feels right. But how do you know which voice to trust? Is it your intuition leading you toward your highest good, or is it fear holding you back? Many people struggle with this question. Fear and intuition can both feel powerful, and if you don't know how to tell them apart, you may find yourself stuck, questioning every decision, doubting yourself, and missing opportunities meant for you. The good news is that you already have the ability to know the difference. You don't need anything outside of yourself to recognize the voice of truth within you. Fear is loud, urgent, and full of doubt. It fills your mind with worst-case scenarios, making you feel small and powerless. It convinces you that you must control everything or things will fall apart. Intuition, on the other hand, is calm. It speaks in a way that feels natural, like a knowing that rises within you without effort. It reassures instead of scares. It guides instead of forcing. If you've ever had a feeling deep inside that just seemed right, without overthinking or analyzing, it was likely your intuition speaking. Learning to separate fear from intuition is one of the most powerful things you can do. When you follow fear, life feels heavy, stressful, and full of resistance. But when you listen to your intuition, everything flows. You make choices with confidence, you feel at peace, and life unfolds in ways better than you imagined. The voice of fear and the voice of intuition will both appear in your life, but only one will lead you to true happiness. The choice is yours. Fear is something you've learned. It wasn't there when you were born. As a child, you trusted life. You reached for what you wanted without hesitation. You explored, you played, and you followed your curiosity without overthinking. You didn't question if you were good enough. You simply existed in the moment, trusting that life would support you. But over time, you were taught fear. People told you to be careful, to avoid risks, to not get your hopes up. You learned from experiences, from society, and from others' fears. You started to doubt yourself. You began to question if you were making the right decisions. This is how fear gains control. It enters through thoughts that repeat in your mind, making you believe you must be careful or things will go wrong. Intuition, however, is not something you learn. It is something you already are. It is the quiet wisdom within you, untouched by fear, doubt, or past experiences. It is not based on logic, yet it is deeply intelligent. Intuition doesn't need proof. It simply knows. Have you ever had a moment where something just felt right, even if you couldn't explain why? That was your intuition. It wasn't a thought. It was a feeling, a knowing, a quiet certainty that whispered, "Yes, this is for you." Fear speaks in a way that makes you doubt yourself. It asks endless questions. What if you fail? What if they don't like you? What if you make a mistake? It keeps you stuck in indecision because it wants to protect you from discomfort. But intuition doesn't question, it simply guides. It won't give you every answer, but it will show you the next step. And when you take that step, you feel relief. You feel peace. You feel that even if the road ahead is uncertain, you are exactly where you need to be. Fear is tied to survival. It comes from the part of your mind that wants to keep you safe. But intuition is tied to your soul. It comes from a place beyond survival. It comes from a place of trust. And trust will always lead you toward growth, expansion, and a life that feels aligned with who you truly are. Your body always tells the truth. While your mind may try to confuse you, your body knows whether something is right for you. Fear feels heavy. It weighs on your chest. It tightens your muscles. It makes your stomach uneasy. It drains your energy and makes even the smallest decisions feel overwhelming. Fear doesn't feel good because it isn't meant to guide you. It is only meant to warn you. But intuition is different. Even when it leads you into unknown territory, it does not create stress. It does not make you feel exhausted. Instead, it brings a quiet sense of relief, even when the choice is difficult. When you are faced with a decision, pay attention to how your body reacts. If thinking about it makes you feel panicked, constricted, or tense, that is fear speaking. If, however, you feel a deep breath of ease, even if there is some uncertainty, that is your intuition. Your body knows what your soul already understands. It reacts based on truth, not just thoughts. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt uncomfortable without knowing why? Or met someone who seemed nice, but something in you didn't trust them? That was your intuition. It wasn't based on logic. It was based on energy, on something beyond words. And when you ignored it, you likely realized later that it was right. The same is true for choices in life. If an opportunity presents itself, but something about it feels wrong, listen to that feeling. If a new path opens, and even though it's unfamiliar, it brings a sense of peace, trust it. Fear will always try to convince you to stay where you are. It will tell you that stepping into something new is dangerous, even if it isn't. But intuition will never lead you into harm. It will never make you anxious or forceful. It will always bring you towards something greater, even if the journey is unknown. The more you learn to listen to your body, the clearer your intuition becomes. Every time you trust it, it grows stronger. And every time you let go of fear, you open yourself to the sweet guidance of your soul. Fear is loud. It demands your attention. It fills your mind with endless thoughts, racing in circles, making everything feel urgent and overwhelming. Fear doesn't want you to pause and reflect. It wants you to react. It pushes you into quick decisions, not because they are right, but because it wants to escape the discomfort of uncertainty. It says, hurry, decide now, or something bad will happen. It convinces you that if you don't act immediately, you'll lose control. Intuition, however, is different. It is soft. It doesn't force, it doesn't panic, and it doesn't create pressure. It doesn't chase you. It simply waits for you to listen. Intuition speaks in whispers, in quiet nudges, in feelings that gently guide you. It may not give you every answer at once, but it will show you enough to take the next step with confidence. Think about a time when you felt completely certain about something, without needing an explanation. Maybe you felt drawn to a new opportunity, or you had a sudden feeling that you needed to reach out to someone. That was intuition. It didn't scream. It didn't push. It was just there, steady and calm, waiting for you to trust it. Fear, on the other hand, will always try to drown out that inner voice. It will make you overthink, second guess, and question every decision. It creates so much noise that you struggle to hear anything else. And the more you listen to fear, the louder it gets. To hear your intuition, you must create space for stillness. You must step away from the noise, from the thoughts that pull you in different directions, and allow yourself to listen. This is why intuition often comes through when you are relaxed, when you are in nature, meditating, or simply allowing your mind to be quiet. Fear speaks in chaos. Intuition speaks in peace. And the more you choose peace, the clearer the whispers become. Fear makes everything complicated. It fills your mind with so many what-ifs that you don't know what to believe anymore. You try to think through every possible outcome, analyze every detail, and find the perfect answer. But the more you think, the more lost you feel. Fear thrives in confusion because when you are uncertain, you stay stuck. You delay making decisions, you avoid taking action, and you stay in the same place, hoping for more clarity that never comes. Intuition, however, is simple. It doesn't come with a list of worries. It doesn't overcomplicate things. When intuition speaks, it brings a quiet knowing, a sense of clarity that doesn't require endless analysis. It may not make logical sense, but it feels right. It feels certain. Think about a time when you were torn between two choices. Maybe one option seemed safe, practical, and logical, but something about it didn't sit right with you. The other option may have felt uncertain, but deep down, you felt pulled toward it. That pull was your intuition. It didn't come with proof. It didn't come with guarantees, but it felt clear. Fear makes you doubt that feeling. It asks, but how do you know? What if you're wrong? What if this doesn't work out? It convinces you that you must have absolute certainty before making a decision. But intuition doesn't operate that way. It doesn't provide all the answers at once. It simply gives you the next step. And when you take that step, the path begins to unfold. When you are feeling confused, stop overthinking. Step away from the fear-based thoughts and ask yourself, what feels right? What feels true for me, even if I can't explain why? Your intuition already knows the answer. The only thing standing in the way is the doubt that fear has created. Fear keeps you small. It tells you to play it safe, to stay where you are, to not take risks. It makes you believe that stepping into something new is dangerous, even when it isn't. Fear says, what if you fail? What if you're not good enough? What if everything falls apart? It keeps you in your comfort zone, even when your comfort zone no longer serves you. But intuition wants you to grow. It calls you toward expansion, toward new experiences, toward a life that is bigger and more fulfilling than what you have known before. It doesn't guarantee that the path will be easy, but it does guarantee that it will be worth it. Think about the times in your life when you felt stuck, when you knew deep down that you wanted something more, but were afraid to take the next step. Maybe it was a relationship that no longer felt right, a job that drained your energy, or a dream you kept putting off because it felt too big. Fear told you to stay. Fear said, it's too risky. It's too hard. It's safer to stay where you are. But deep inside, your intuition was nudging you forward. The reason fear feels so strong is because the mind prefers the familiar. Even if something isn't working, your mind finds comfort in what it knows. But your soul is not meant to stay small. It is meant to expand. It is meant to evolve. When intuition guides you towards something new, it may feel scary, but it won't feel wrong. There will be excitement beneath the fear, a sense of possibility, a feeling that something greater is waiting for you. That is how you know the difference. Fear shrinks your world. Intuition opens it up. Fear makes you believe you are not capable. Intuition reminds you that you are. The next time you feel fear trying to hold you back, ask yourself, is this a warning, or is this just discomfort because I am growing? More often than not, it is the latter. And growth is never something to fear. It is something to embrace. Fear tells you there is never enough, not enough time, not enough money, not enough love. It makes you believe that if you take a risk, you might lose everything. That if you follow your intuition, you may end up with nothing. Fear convinces you that life is limited, that opportunities are rare, and that you must hold on tightly to what you have, even if it no longer serves you. But intuition knows the truth. It knows that life is abundant, that there is more than enough for you, that new doors will always open, new opportunities will always appear, and new love will always find you when you align with your highest self. Intuition operates from trust, not fear. It doesn't say, "What if I lose?" Instead, it says, "What if this brings me something even better?" Think about a time when you were afraid to let go of something, a job, a relationship, an old version of yourself, because you thought you might not find anything better. Fear told you to stay because it convinced you that what you had was as good as it was going to get. But deep down, your intuition was whispering, "You deserve more. There is something greater waiting for you." Scarcity thinking comes from the mind, but abundance thinking comes from the soul. The universe is always ready to provide, but it requires your trust. When you act from fear, you close yourself off from receiving. When you act from intuition, you open yourself up to the flow of life. Every time you trust, you expand. Every time you let go of something not meant for you, something better takes its place. When you live in fear, you cling to what is familiar. But when you trust, you make space for the life that is meant for you. The first step to strengthening your intuition is learning how to release fear. Fear will always be there, but you do not have to let it control you. The more you quiet fear, the louder your intuition becomes. One of the best ways to do this is to practice stillness. Fear thrives on overthinking, on endless questions, on the need for control. But intuition speaks in quiet moments, in deep breaths, in spaces where the mind is not cluttered with worry. Meditation, spending time in nature, and simply sitting in silence are powerful ways to reconnect with your inner guidance. Another way to quiet fear is to reframe your thoughts. Instead of asking, "What if something goes wrong?" ask, "What if everything goes right?" Instead of saying, "I'm afraid to take this step," say, "I trust that I am being guided." Fear loses its power when you stop feeding it with doubt. Lastly, act on your intuition. The more you follow those small nudges, the stronger they become. Start with simple things. If you feel called to read a certain book, to reach out to someone, to take a new path home, listen. Intuition does not always come as grand revelations. It often appears in the smallest ways, guiding you step by step. And the more you trust, the clearer it becomes. Your words shape your reality. If you constantly tell yourself that you don't know what to do, that you can't trust yourself, that you are always confused, then that becomes your truth. But if you affirm that you are connected to your inner wisdom, that you trust the path ahead, that life is guiding you, then that becomes your truth instead. Repeat these affirmations daily and feel the energy shift within you. I trust my intuition completely. I am always guided toward my highest good. I release fear and embrace trust. I am safe to follow my inner wisdom. I listen to the whispers of my soul. Everything I need to know is already within me. Affirmations are not just words, they are declarations. Every time you say them, you are rewiring your mind to believe in yourself, to trust your inner knowing, and to release the grip of fear. Fear will always try to keep you small. It will tell you that you are not ready, not capable, not strong enough. But fear is just an illusion, a voice from the past, shaped by experiences that no longer define you. Your intuition, however, is the voice of truth. It is always guiding you toward what is best for you. It may not always give you the entire map, but it will always show you the next step. When you learn to listen, life begins to flow. Decisions become easier. Peace replaces doubt. Doors open effortlessly. You do not need to control everything. You only need to trust. Fear will always be there, but it no longer has to lead your life. You have the power to choose. Choose trust. Choose intuition. Choose the path that was always meant for you.